Hello you wonderful humans and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, we, or me just for today, are from High Season, a social media agency that helps business owners, entrepreneurs, and marketers step their social media game up and break the algorithm. Today, by popular demand, by our insights, by our comments from you, I am finally doing an upgraded, and I'd say a more comprehensive video on how to use Instagram ads and, more importantly, how to optimize your Instagram ads for high performance. Now, an important note, I'll be saying Instagram, but this also applies to Facebook as well since they're under the same company, under Meta, and you'll be using Meta Ads Manager. And if you have been wondering whether or not you should be running ads on Instagram and you're hoping to get a bit of insight, yes, you should. I've been running ads for over 7 years, and the amount of impact that they've had on our clients in terms of the results we've seen is incredible. Ads are very powerful. They help you drive sales in your business. They help you increase your brand awareness. They help you reach your target audience. They are the way to break the algorithm and get to the exact person that you want to, so that you could drive the objectives that you want for your business. So I'm not going to go so long into this intro. We're going to dive right in, but I do want to let you guys know that we did create an Instagram ads checklist that's going to be in the description box below. It will help you as you go through this video. So if you want to take a pause and go through and download it, it'll help you when we're going step by step through this. So without further ado, let's talk about how to create a high performing Instagram or Facebook ad, and stick to the end because I'm going to give you some of my favorite tips and hacks and secrets to make sure that your ads are performing well. Let's get started. Okay, so everything that's happening today and all good things and good ads happen in Ads Manager. So here I am with Ads Manager on my screen here. Now this is obviously an account that I'm not using. It's just like a specific account in order to create tutorials like these. I just want to make it clear, okay? Ads Manager is where powerful ads happen, and that's where you're able to optimize for the best performance. So if you want to run a very good, well-optimized ad, that has to happen in Ads Manager, not the boost button, okay? If you want me to go into another video and explain the differences between Ads Manager and a boost button, just let me know in the comments below and I'll cover that, but that is not where you want to be. So in order to access your Ads Manager, you're just gonna go to facebook.com/ads/manager, and the first thing that you'll do is set up your ad account. So I won't spend too much time in this because it's a little bit administrative, but what you do is you go to the ad account settings, and that's where you're going to be adding in your time zone, your location, your credit card details, and all your other key information. If you need to have any ad account roles, that's where you would add them in, and then you'd open your payment settings, and that's where you're able to enter your credit card information or any credits, any of those things that you have, so that you're able to start running ads. So if you're watching this video and it's your first time running ads, pause here, go and set yourself up, add all those details in, or you can just choose to continue and just watch through for this first time, absorb it, and then come back, set everything up, and then go step by step with me through creating your ad. All right, so let's say you're completed with this. What you're going to do now is go into Ads Manager. Now, did you all know that these 3 lines, so that's what you're gonna hit. You're gonna hit the 3 lines, but did you all know that those 3 lines were called like a burger? This is something that our web developer told us, and I didn't know that. That was back in the day. I always just said 3 lines. But anyways, you're gonna hit the 3 lines in the burger in the top left corner there, and you're gonna navigate to Ads Manager. So I'm in Ads Manager now. That's just loading up, and they're probably going to tell me again that I need to set up my payment account. Maybe it'll pop up, maybe won't. Yeah, it is. Okay, so every ad has 3 parts, right? There's the campaign, there's the ad sets, and there are the ads. So that's how your ads are all going to be segmented out. So you'll see here when you're actually looking at the campaigns, there are included here. The campaign is where your ad objective is chosen. It's really where you're deciding what you want your ad to achieve, and based on what your objectives are. Then you'll see ad sets. Ad sets is where you're telling Meta who you want your ad to be seen to. That's where you're letting them know what the budget's going to be, and that's where you're also deciding on your placements and your dates, including a few other things. And then we have ads. That's the actual creative itself. So that's actually what your target demographic is going to see. So we'll head over and we'll hit create here. Here you're able to choose your campaign objective, and what's really important to consider is that your campaign objective should match your business objectives. They should be completely aligned with your business goals, and Meta makes this very easily by outlining them clearly in terms of what they do. So if you look here, we have 3 parts when we're really considering the sales funnel, right? We have awareness, we have consideration, and we have conversions. And each of these can fall into any part of that, depending on what you want to achieve. So the awareness objective, anything under that is going to be showing your ads to as many people as possible. So you'll see here that they're saying awareness shows your ads to people who are most likely to remember them. So that's really the first part of your sales funnel, and technically where you should start introducing yourself to people. Traffic ads and engagement ads. Now these all fall under consideration in the ads funnel, and this is where you want to encourage a specific action. So be it to send someone to your website or to like your post so that you can keep increasing your engagement, which is also very key. Or you can also be sending them to your website or your landing page. That's what you'd be doing with these objectives here. Nice. Sorry guys, my Siri was just talking to me on my watch. So anyways, as I was saying, that's where you're really going to break the algorithm. So with your organic content, you're often asking people to do certain things. You have these call to actions, but sometimes they can fall on deaf ears because, reach can be down, even with the tactics that we implement. But when you have ads that are specifically directing people to something, you're breaking by that algorithm, breaking past it, and actually getting your content in front of them. So when we talk about asking for engagement, you can run an ad and get that engagement that you want with the exact target audience that you want. Now, when we start moving up or moving down into the sales funnel and looking at conversion, so really getting that sale or getting that specific thing that you really want that is going to drive usually revenue in your business, that's where we're getting into the sales section here. And these are really going to encourage and influence people who are already interested in your business based on moving down into the sales funnel to actually perform that action, to either convert into a sale, convert into a download. A little bit more advanced in that I would recommend that you start going through awareness and engagement ads before you lead into conversion ads. Also, conversion ads operate best when they have a lot of data, and you're only going to build that data by running several ads so that you can build an audience base to retarget to. So for this ad, what we're actually going to do and what I'm going to focus on is engagement. So we're going to look at engagement, and specifically we're going to look at video views. And the reason I'm saying video views is because one of the tips that I want to talk about is video is number one. So video are the types of ads that you should be running and prioritizing in terms of a content piece. So because the platform already loves video content, you're giving yourself that extra boost by using that in your ads. So I'm going to run it with a video views objective, and you'll really see if you are running a video views objective how much impact you'll be able to make in terms of engagement. And the bonus is that with these video views, you're going to rack up a ton of data like I was just talking about, so that you're able to leverage that and run warmer ads, so warmer targeted ads, which I'm going to talk about next. So let's go forward with the engagement objective. So in this campaign set is where you'll do some of the basics. So you'll name your campaign. So for example, we will call this, I'm going to pretend that I'm a wedding makeup artist, okay? Summer weddings, because I'm trying to book for summer 2023. Let's say that's what that is. I'm not going to declare any categories. So the declaration of categories is specific to if you are creating an ad that's related to credit, employment, or housing, or other social issues, which you are not, so you do not need to declare this. This heavily restricts your targeting for obvious reasons. So that's not something we're going to click. We don't have any restrictions. We're not doing anything special there. What I'm going to do though is campaign details. We're going to leave that. We're going to leave it as auction and let the algorithm do what they know how to do for the purposes of this beginner video. For the campaign objective, the engagement is what we said, so that's what we already clicked, but if you had changed your mind, that's where you'd have the opportunity to do that. Because this is a beginner video as well, we are not going to do any A/B testing or do anything with the Advantage campaign budget. If you want more advanced videos, let me know and we can talk about that, but I want to make it simple and clean for the beginner who's ready to run their ads or optimize their ads to start. So we're going to bypass that, and now we're going to get into the ad set. So the ad set, as I mentioned before, that's where you're choosing where your ad's going to be placed, who you're targeting, and your budget and timing as well. So with the ad set name, this is for me to know because you can create several ad sets under a campaign. So that ad set is for me to know who was I targeting in this, or what was the location. So for this, I'll say Toronto women, for example, 35 plus. Because that's where I want to go in order to find a new audience. And then what we're doing here in terms of the way we want to drive engagement, so you have specific ways under the engagement objective that you can drive people to. For this one specifically, we want the engagement to be on our ad. We want people to watch and interact with the video that we're going to be putting out because we're trying to get that data from them, and we're also trying to rack up a lot of views and get ourselves out there to as many people as possible. So we're going to choose the on your ad, and the engagement type is video views. But again, you could direct people to the website, to an app, or get engagement on your Facebook page as well. They're also going to ask you your performance goals. So that really depends on whether you want to maximize through plays. So they are going to show the video to the people who are most likely to watch it from beginning to end. So that could be really important if there's a lot of information, or there's just information in there that you want to make sure that people digest. But it's also important because it allows you to know who's more of a high intent audience. So who's more interested in this because they stuck around. Or you could do 2-second continuous video views, which means they're going to show it to as many people as possible. The video might not even be on the full screen, but they're going to throw it out to as many people as possible. So this really depends on your objective. I generally steer in the direction of through plays views. If we're trying to be more thoughtful in that we want something to come as a result of this, and we're not really much just in the numbers, but we want a high intent audience to retarget to later. So I'm going to choose the maximize through plays because that's what we would do, but you can choose the 2 seconds, which is they'll just show it to anyone who will watch it at least, that they think, for at least 2 seconds. Now the budget and schedule, this is when you're deciding on what your daily budget is going to be for the video. I recommend that you spend no less than $10 on here. You can spend $5, but that is the recommendation that I have based on the ads that I've run. So if you really want to see performance, you're getting at a best bet at least with $10 spend. However, you can go lower. It's just what you always have to consider is the lower you invest, the smaller the results. The more you invest, the bigger the results will be. It's just a numbers game. It's just math. That makes complete sense. So I would aim for $10, but you can do $5 a day and see some form of impact. And you'll also notice as you are adjusting your budget that your daily results, which are on the side here, will adjust. And I'll take a second here to even just go through that right bar there with you. So you'll see there's an audience definition. This is where when we're deciding on the who, so the who we're going to be targeting to, that's where we'll see that number change. And then our daily results as well, when we're deciding on who we're targeting, that number will change as well, because that's letting us know the size of the audience based on our targeting and based on our budget. So I'm just going to stick with you all here, and I'm going to say $10. And of course, as I decrease the spend, the estimated daily results decrease as a result. It only makes sense. And then we could say start date is November 9th. That's not important for now. What you would want to do is set either a start date and an end date, or you can run something continuously and monitor it yourself. So if it's something that's like a campaign that you feel you'd want to be running continuously, you can just hit the start date and monitor it yourself. But if it's something that's windowed, like a promotion or special, you want to make sure that you add that end date in, so that way the campaign ends when it's supposed to and somebody doesn't see it past an event or past a promotion that you have running. Now, a big section here that we're going to come to now is the audience section, okay? So this is very important when you're creating your ad. I don't want to understate how important it is to be intentional when you're creating your ad sets. This means that you should have your target audience as a business owner, as a creator, as a marketer. You should have that target audience down, because that's who you'll be building in that section of your ad set. So, when we're talking about this area, it's the who what, the where, and the how. And the who is a very key part in terms of the performance of your ads. So I'll go in and we'll just take a look at what you're able to target based on all the information that Meta has on us. But I want to also make it clear that there are 3 types of people that you can target in a way. So you get to target a core audience, a custom audience, and a lookalike audience. So let's look at the various audience types and I'll break it down as we're looking through. So here you see they're saying define who you want to see your ads. So we have create new audience, we have use a saved audience, and we have custom audiences here. This account is super fresh, so there's not going to be anything in here, but I'll break down for you what every audience is. The core audience, that's the interest-based targeting. So where we're seeing the detailed targeting happening here in these details, that's where you're deciding on your core audience. Now, this is based on who you think your audience is or who you know your audience is, and that involves the age, location, the job roles, interests, connections, and more. This tool has helped us sell out conferences for our clients. This is a very, very powerful tool. And this is where you really want to get inside your audience's head. We also have custom audiences. So when you're seeing custom audience, this is actually my favorite type of audience because this allows you to retarget and reconnect with people who have already displayed some level of interest in your business. That's the best type of customer that you're going to get. Now, this pulls from who's engaged with your post, who's visited your website via the Meta Pixel, and who's watched a video or liked your Facebook page, and so much more. It's all the data that Meta collects based on you running these core audience ads. And then the other type of audience is a lookalike audience. So no lookalike audiences here yet, but what lookalike audiences are people that Meta has identified will most closely match your custom audience. So they are as similar to your perfect or best customer as it gets because Meta's already understood who's responding well to your content, and then they leverage that custom audience that you create, and you can make a lookalike audience based on Meta's data alone. I think I could do a whole video on audiences alone. I just wanted to give you an overview, and today we're going to start just with the core audience. But if you do want to see a video on audience targeting alone and a deeper dive into audiences, you know what to do. Just let me know in the comments. Okay, so we're in our audience section. As I mentioned, I want to target, say, women on their makeup day, women based in Toronto. So with the audience, you can get so granular and so detailed to target the exact type of person you want. So let me show you what I would do in this set. So location wise, I mentioned I'm looking for people in Toronto, right? So we're hitting Toronto, Ontario. Also, actually, let me turn off my iMac. Okay, so we're looking at the Toronto area. I'm willing to drive pretty far, so I'm going to say I'm going to go all the way 50 miles. And then I'm going to choose the age. Now, the age, this really depends on who your target audience is. In this scenario, because I'm going a bit more detailed targeted here, I'm going to leave this age open because I'm looking for newly engaged women. And I don't want to discriminate as to when somebody can get newly engaged in life. However, something to consider is that if I was somebody who specialized in mature women's makeup, then you would see me probably put that up to 45 plus or whatever's considered mature. But that's where I'd be maybe narrowing down this a little bit. Or if I really wanted to target millennials because I have the look that I know millennials want, I'd be doing that. In this instance, I'm just going to leave it open, but it's very, very simple to do that. And again, it should align with who your target audience is. I do makeup for women, so I'm going to change that gender to women. And now we're going to move into detailed targeting where I can get really, really detailed on the type of person that I want based on my target audience. So you can look at your detailed targeting based on demographics, interests, and behaviors. I can actually go in here as a behavior and look for people who are engaged as their relationship status. Moreover, if I wanted somebody who was freshly engaged and really newly engaged, I could just click one of these as well. So I'm going to look for people who are in a relationship status who are engaged, And then I'm also going to use and leverage the demographics here. And what I love is you can actually tap suggestions, and based on the original interest that you put in there or behavior, Meta will start recommending things that are aligned with that as well. So in a relationship, so maybe someone who hasn't switched over to engaged yet, and then newly engaged based on certain timings. So in this scenario where I'm looking at newly engaged women, I'm going to go with not only engaged, but I'm going to go newly engaged up to even a year, okay? Not only am I going to do that, I'm going to start thinking about, well, if I was engaged as my target demo of the woman who is engaged, what else would she be looking at? So I can actually look up people who have interests, who are looking up things on the internet in regards to engagements and weddings. I could look up bridal magazines, right? You have to think narrower when you're doing these ads. You can't think so broadly. So I might be looking at somebody who is interested in David's bridal, for example. So now I'm like, okay, I'm getting your behavior or demographic from you. You're an engaged person. But then I'm also giving Meta more details because I'm adding certain interests that I think you would be interested if you'd be interested in me. So what are you looking at if you're interested in someone who provides my service? So that's when I start getting into David's bridals, maybe engagement in certain magazines that are in this demographic. And then if I wanted to even get a bit more specific based on the type of makeup and glam that I do, I might even put an interest that you would not generally think of. So if I'm thinking about someone who maybe likes more dramatic makeup, because I just know that's like my type of skill, and I'm just saying this, I don't even know if technically their makeup is considered dramatic, but I also want the type of person who is interested in the Kardashians, for example, because that's the type of, can you spell Kardashians? Who are interested in the Kardashians, because that I think aligns best with my type of woman or demographic that I'm reaching for. And then when you create these narrowed down, you will also see that your audience definition on the right hand side that we were looking at, it will start moving between specific and broad. So when we think about this, we don't really want a massively broad audience. What we will want is somebody who is a bit more defined. So what we're looking to do in this section here is define that audience, and we have. So now we've decided on the demographics, some of the interests that we know, and this could scale a bit further. And I can, again, make a whole video on audiences, so let me know if that's something you want. But you can get even more granular than this. It's really impressive. So once I've decided, okay, that's my target audience, this is the woman that I know is interested in my service, and I feel good because my audience is defined, I can look over on the right and see like, okay, my daily estimated results is that I should get at least 1,000 views per day on my video, and I'm going to reach up to 3,000 people. If I feel good about that, I'm going to move on down. Now there is another option that you do have before I scroll on by, and that's advantage detailed targeting. So this allows you to reach people beyond who you specifically said you wanted. If Meta feels that it will likely increase the performance of your ad, you don't need to do that. You can, I want to be super specific here. I'm just going with who I'm going with, so I'm going to say no to this. When it comes to languages, I generally advise not to select languages here unless it's something really specific where you might be targeting a country that specifically speaks French, for example, and you want to target only the English speakers of that country. But you take a risk when you do that of alienating some people or neglecting some people because they did not say that they are English speakers, for example. So I like to usually leave that, but you can change it to a specific language if you wanted to, or if you want to target French people in Canada, for example. You also have the option to save this audience. So if you find that, oh, this is a type of audience, this is my core audience that I'm going to come back to, you can save that, which makes things easier. I often operate with saved audiences because I spend a lot of time building them before I actually bring them into the ad set. And then next we're looking at placement. So we talked about like our who, right? We talked about our where, we talked about our when, and now we're going to talk about how they're going to see the content. And that's in this placement section here. For placements, you have the option to do all placements. This is something that's just going to be recommended across the board, across all platforms, or you can choose manual placement. So if I knew, and what we talked about here is that I'm specifically running an ad on Instagram, I'm actually going to unselect everything that is not an Instagram product here. Now, in most instances, if I wasn't running something that's Instagram specific, a lot of our clients are across all platforms, so I would let this run across the board and then let Facebook tell me or let Meta tell me how things are performing for each surface, so each, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Reels, Stories, and then kind of optimize my ad from there. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to make it Instagram only, and when you scroll down, it'll let you know where your ads will appear. So your placements will appear in feed, they're going to appear in Stories and Reels. Without question, you need to make, we're going to get into it, but you need to make ads for Reels. You need to make vertical videos for your ads. You cannot just have square 4x5s and be doing the old classic Instagram way. If we're telling you something's really working well in organic, it's the same type of thing that's happening on ads as well. We'll scroll through down here so you can see what else is going on, and you'll see as we remove some placements that did affect our daily results, but not too much. It's just that we're not having Facebook in there, so that gets removed out of the estimation. So we're looking at an audience size of around 83,000 and hopefully reaching up to 3,000 of them per day. Now I'm gonna hit next over here in the corner, and then this is going to take us to the engagement ad. So as I mentioned, we have our campaign, right? So that was our objective that we chose. Then we had our ad set. That is the who, the what, the where, and the how, and that's everything that we've selected, and that's our Toronto women 35 plus running it on Instagram. We've nailed that down. The next thing is the creative. Now this is what your people are going to see. So this is super, super key that you nail this down. And one very serious pro tip is if something is working for you organically, leverage that for your ads. So if you know that you've had videos that performed really well organically, and you can do this by just looking through your insights, that's the same type of content you're going to want to leverage here, because you have the insight and knowledge now that, hey, when this was just displayed to my audience and then the people that I optimized this content to go for organically, it performed better than most of my other content, which means if I put money behind it so that it reaches more people, it should perform even better. So that's something that's a serious consideration when you're thinking about creative for your ads. So here we're gonna put in our ad name, and here is where I'll actually describe what the ad is. So I might say this was the 30-second promo wedding reel. You can decide on the naming conventions that you want. I'm just literally throwing things at you here. A lot of my names have a lot of underscores and codes in them, but I'm trying to make them very clear here for you. But let's say I'm running with the 30-second promo wedding reel. The next thing is your identity. So I do monitor a few pages. So I'm just going to switch this over to high season, but I can't show you all the pages under there for privacy reasons, so give me 1 second. Perfect. So I've made sure that my identity is High Season Co, because that's the page where I want my ads to run from. And then we're going to look at how to actually create the ad. We have a few options here. So you can create a fresh ad, which is what we're going to do right now, or you can actually use an existing post. So if you, like I mentioned earlier, have a post that's performed really well, or you want to make sure that all the engagement that you're creating here in this ad stays on one video that's on your feed, you can do that with the use existing post feature. So I love that when we're talking about how to increase engagement and also how to just lift numbers across your profile. If that's something that you want to do, this is where you do it, and that use existing post is everything for that specific objective. So as I mentioned, for this, we're going to do create ad, and then what we would be doing is adding a video. So you also have the option, but again, I'm going to leave this beginner and keep it more straightforward. You could actually create a video inside of Facebook using their tools, but what we're going to do is actually add a video that we already have. So it'll put you into the select media screen here, and I can upload. And when we're talking about video here, I want to make a few things clear in terms of best practices. Keep your video short, okay? Try to keep your video under 30 seconds. When it's something like this, what I'm using that's like a reel that would be showcasing my work as a makeup artist, I'd be okay to leave it to be 30 seconds. Make it even shorter if you can, especially if you're gonna want to drive people later to something or make them read the caption. In the end, this is based on just general practices of how much people like to consume. You know, there's a lot of attention that is out there and needs to be grabbed. So the shorter and sweeter that you can make a piece of content, the better. So here's my video. I'm just gonna hit next after I've uploaded that. And it'll let me see how this is gonna appear in the feed and in the stories and reels. I actually uploaded a vertical video because vertical content is key. Don't sleep on vertical. Make sure you have vertical in there. But I could actually crop this, which I'm going to do for the purposes of this video because I didn't edit placements outside of here. based on it being a tutorial. But if you were actually uploading this content, make sure that you're always scaling and that you have 9x16 assets and 4x5 assets. 4x5 even better than 1x1, so square versus portrait, square being 1x1, portrait being 4x5, and 9x16 being the vertical, the full screen, full immersive experience that we get with reels and stories. So I'm going to leave that to be 1x1, so that means on Instagram feeds it'll be square, and then it'll be vertical as it should on the other platform. There are these standard enhancement options. I'm going to leave that for now. You can do it. It basically relates to how they might just slightly tweak the asset in order to make it perform better if they think it makes sense. So then let's hit done. So once that's uploaded, you're going to move into your text. So what are people going to see when they actually see your ad? What's the text that's going to accompany it? And I want to take a second to kind of emphasize a few things here that are really, really important to consider. So just because this is an ad and because you're putting money behind it and it's going to reach people, doesn't mean that everybody's going to respond to it and love it if you don't take the time to put in real effort on your creative. So that's your copy and that's the imagery that you're using. Your imagery still has to be interesting and dynamic, and your copy still has to be optimized. And when I say optimized, that means you need to think about 3 things when you're putting your caption or copy together that's going to accompany your post. So in this scenario, being a makeup artist and I'm thinking about my copy, I'm going to make sure that I'm leading with a hook. So that's the hook that will make people feel something or have more interest. Then I'm going to move to a solution. I'm the solution. And then I'm going to move to the CTA, which is asking people to do this. It could be to comment below or to follow for more inspo or to book something with me, because you can add all of these. You can actually add CTA buttons to these video views, which we'll get into in a second as we're building out the ad. But you definitely want people to not just see the video and go away. So I've quickly whipped up some copy here so that you all can see what I'm speaking of. So I used my formula that I was talking about. So I've led with a hook. I've never felt more beautiful. This is me leveraging social proof based on the brides who would be featured in my creative. Then I have my solution and then a description of my services. So Soft Glam is in for 2023, a little bit inspiration. Nothing makes me happier than glamming up brides using techniques I've honed for the last 9 years. So not only am I inspiring through my text, I'm also adding a bit of a qualifier to why I'm the best person to do your makeup. And then who's getting married this year? Drop a bouquet emoji below. And the reason that I'm asking for that is in this scenario, you best believe that if you drop that bouquet emoji, I'm following up with you in the comments, and I'm also going to be DMing you so that you can learn more about my service. So I'm using this ad to get more video views, but I'm also using it as a way to get warm leads for my service. And I do want to say a really serious consideration that you need to have when you're making these ads is whether they fall into the 3 most important content types, which Craig and I actually broke down in this video. But you need to consider, is my ad inspiring? Is it inspiring people to do something? Is it educating people? Or is it entertaining them? If your content does not fall into one of these 3 buckets, gotta tell you, don't post it, revisit it, look at your creative again, and look to see how you can fall into one of those themes. So with this ad specifically, we are looking at targeting video views. So you'll see there's another option here to add a destination once you've put in your copy and your creative. You can add a destination. I do like to add these in. It really depends on the creative. But if you do want to drive people to the website or to somewhere else, you can. It's just that you don't want to include so many CTAs in an ad. So I would have changed what that last copy piece would be to like check out my website for more. However, in this objective, when we're doing video views, that's what Meta is optimizing for. So you wouldn't expect as much traction with this ad as you would if you ran a traffic ad. So that's something to be really cognizant of, which is why you need to lead with your objective. Do I want to drive people to my website? That's the ad I'll create. Do I just want to get engagement, more video views, build more data? That means I'm going to create a video views or an engagement ad objective. So those are the things you need to be considering when you're setting up. All of that matters. So if I did add a destination, that would allow me to put in a headline. So I could say Toronto Glam Services. I can make the call to action, learn more, to direct people to the website. And then I would put my website in, which would be, I'm just putting in our website, which is highseasonco.com, because you need to enter a website. And that'll allow me to show you what that full ad would look like in feed, which I love. There's always this screen here, so you can always see how things are looking as you're putting it together. So that's what your ad will look like. You'll have your learn more description, and then that's your full caption as well. And in the tracking section is where if you do have things happening off the platform, like on your website, that's where you'll make sure that your pixel is installed. Now, I didn't get into the pixel in this video because that's a whole conversation in and of itself, but pixels are crucial to ads. If you want me to do a video on the pixel and what it does and why it's important and how to use it, let me know in the comments below. But in short, the pixels are what allows you to track activity, so that way you can build those warm audiences that we were talking about. So those are the custom audiences we discussed that can use the data from your website in order to pull that and re-promote to people that we know are interested. So I can definitely do a video on that. It's just these videos take a lot of time, so I need to make sure that people want it before I go out and create it out into the ether. Once we've done that and we've set up our website events, we would publish the ad. Once you hit publish, you have launched your ad. Once that ad is launched, it's going to go into review. If there are any issues with the ad, which based on something that we've created here today, there wouldn't be, your ad will start running, and it doesn't end there because you need to monitor your ad and optimize it. Again, if you want me to do a video on how to know when an ad is working, let me know in the comment section below, and I will definitely create that for you because that's important too. And I hope that you were paying attention to some of those optimization and tips and tricks that I was speaking about. So that is it for today. That is how you launch your ad on Instagram, a high performing ad. And as I also mentioned in the beginning of this video, you can download our Instagram checklist. It's going to be in the description box, and that'll just guide you through the ad creation process so that you don't miss any key details as you're putting your ad together. If you want more videos like this and on any of the topics that I mentioned, be it ad audience targeting, pixels, the difference between boosting and ads manager, just let me know. I'm happy to create those videos. I just need to know that you want them. So let me know in the comment section below. If you have any questions, I'll be in the comment section also answering them. Please don't hesitate to ask. Ads are so powerful. I really encourage you all, if you do have the budget to put aside to invest in them, they are worth it when they are done right. So thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it and that you learned a lot from it. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe below, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other videos from us. You can follow us everywhere at High Season Co, and you can check out our blog posts on our ever-evolving website, highseasonco.com. We will see you in the next video. Peace.